So today I'm going to give you guys a speech about athletes with disabilities. Athletes with disabilities is important to me because, you know, living with, my barriers or, barriers. I'm just going to say barriers with CP, and then having a learning disorder on top of that. This topic is kind of, important to me because, it shows that even though that people have, worse, like, grew up with, like, I guess, worse barriers or, like, the same barriers as me, and they still went out to accomplish, what they wanted to accomplish. As well as, it's important to me, I believe, we all have our marginalized identity, and I think, in one point or another in our lives, it's kind of held us back from, doing what we want to do. So I'm just going to talk about three different athletes who have their own barriers, or have their own barriers, and they still went out to accomplish great things. So my first athlete is Jim Abbott. He's a Yankees pitcher. He threw a no-hitter in 1993, and he has one hand. I found this information on Yahoo Sports, and to continue, throwing a no-hitter in baseball is already hard enough, and being able to pitch and play baseball at the major league level is pretty cool. On top, let alone like being able to pitch at the highest level in baseball, and doing it with one hand, that's great. I mean, he was born with one hand. It was a birth defect. I want to thank sports medicine for giving me that information. And so, like, being able to pitch at the highest level with one hand, and it's great. So moving on to my moving on to my second athlete, Samari Roll. Samari Roll has epilepsy, and Samari Roll was also a cornerback for the Baltimore Ravens, and he continued to play. He continued to play football for a little bit while having epilepsy, and at risk. He was at risk for having a seizure every time he got tackled, especially if it was like helmet to helmet. If it was a helmet to helmet tackle, excuse me. And so it's incredible that he, has epilepsy, and he still decided to play football. But in the end, he couldn't really risk, having a seizure while playing football because it's just dangerous. Who would want to do that? All jokes aside, moving on to my third topic, or third athlete, LaMarcus Aldridge has a irregular heartbeat. It's called heart arrhythmia. I want to thank Google Books or Google Patent and Demarius Dennis for giving me this information. LaMarcus Aldridge is a power forward for the San Antonio Spurs. Like I said, he has heart arrhythmia. He has a irregular heartbeat, so his heart could actually be beating super fast or beating super slow. It just it's dangerous. And basketball is already a cardio intensive sport, running up and down the court. This just goes to show that even having heart arrhythmia he has to be aware of what of his irregular heartbeat, but at the same time, it still doesn't stop him from going out and playing basketball every night. So, in conclusion, I would just like to say that, even though that we all have our own barriers, um, even though we have our own barriers, we can still go out and accomplish whatever we want to do. These three athletes that I just talked about are very good examples of how um, they went out and played and were able to play at the highest level in their own respective sport. So that's it.